Hi, it's Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. Are you in meetings that are way too long, that go on forever, and you feel like I just spend so much time in these meetings and it doesn't feel like a very good use of my time? And it's really stressful to be in back to back meetings all the time. I think that often my clients, when you look at their schedules, it's like a brick wall of meetings, right? Just meeting after meeting after meeting. I have so many clients who tell me that the work that they need to get done, they have to do it after hours. They have to do it, after dinner, because the only time they're not in meetings during the day, or that they have more than, just a few minutes to check up on those emails or things during the day, the only time to do that is not during the workday. And that's incredibly frustrating because I don't think any of us want to be forced into working, two work days a day, right? And yet that's what's happening a lot. And so I want to talk about these meetings because the meetings that we have on our calendar, I think we all know that they're not all a great use of our time. And I certainly have, content, articles, blog posts, online courses, et cetera, around how to do a meeting audit. But that's not what I want to talk about here today. What I want to talk about is the length of these meetings, because there's actually something that we can do that can help us to reduce this stress and to make the meetings that we have a little bit better, even without removing any of them. And this is to really rethink what the defaults are around the length of our meetings. Now, meetings are up 250% since pre-pandemic. So it's not just in your head, like you are in way more meetings, and it's true. It feels like there's no time for anything. There was actually a study that Microsoft did a couple of years ago about meetings and back-to-back meetings, et cetera. And what they found was that even a short break of 5 to 10 minutes in between meetings, this actually greatly reduced people's stress levels. And so what happens when we're just in back to back to back, and because we're virtual now, it's like literally back to back, you're not even getting up to walk anymore, is that we don't have time to pee, to eat, to, just get our action items into our task list. We don't have any time for these things in between meetings. And that's really stressful because oftentimes people are showing up late to one meeting because their last meeting ran over. They didn't have any time to take care of their just own bodily needs. They didn't even have time to look up, right? To look farther than the 2 feet in front of them. And this is not great for our health, for our well-being, for our stress, et cetera. So what this study found that Microsoft did was that just these little short breaks in between really actually negate a lot of the effects of being in these back-to-back meetings. And if you look at the graphs, it's like, if we're in back-to-backs, our stress levels are kind of going like this throughout the day. And if we are in meetings that are still kind of back to back, but they have 5 to 10 minutes in between, so you just take a little breather, that actually our stress levels stay pretty stable. So our stress levels go down in between those meetings and they may go back up during the meetings, but overall throughout the course of the day, they're staying pretty stable instead of, going upwards and to the right. And so we can do something about this, right? We can make our meetings shorter. And there are actual tools that make this a lot easier. So why do we have 30 and 60-minute meetings? I mean, because those are the defaults that are set up in the calendar. Like there's nothing magical about 30 minutes or 60 minutes. That's just what's set up there, right? And so if instead we can change those defaults, then we can build in some of this time that our body and our brain needs so that we're not so stressed during the day. So if you're in the Google world, you can use the speedy meetings setting. So if you go into Google Calendar or just Google speedy meetings, you'll be able to go in there and set it up so that by default, your meetings will be 25 minutes instead of 30 or 50 minutes instead of 60. If you're in the Outlook world, there is a similar setting. It's called end meetings early, and you can just go in there and you can change those defaults as well. And this means that every time you're sending out a scheduled meeting, it's going to default to these shorter times instead of the longer times. Now, I hear you thinking, or I hear you saying, whichever one it is, I hear you thinking there, you know what, I've done this, right? My company tried this. We tried to do 20-minute meetings instead of 30 meetings. We tried to do, 50-minute meetings instead of 60 meetings, and it didn't work, right? People just kept going. People just kept talking. And we put it in there, but nobody paid attention to it. That I totally understand, right? It's hard to change behavior. And so there are some things that you can do about this, right? And one is just to increase the awareness. And so if you are going to move to these shorter meetings so that you have a little bit of breaks in there, it can be really helpful to, at the beginning of the meeting, state that this is happening, right? So, hey, just want to remind everyone, this is a 25-minute meeting or this is a 20-minute meeting. That'll give people a little bit of breathing room, a little break before their next meeting, before they're on to the next thing. And so I just want to state that now so that we all are in agreement. And when we get to that time period, we're going to cut it off. You might also want to anoint a timekeeper, right? Maybe it's yourself, for the meeting so that we can give people a warning. So maybe we get to that 20-minute mark and we say, hey, just want to remind everyone we have 5 minutes left. Maybe we should get all our action items in now, like one last burning question, whatever it is we need to do. But we need to kind of be more proactive about maintaining those boundaries. Now, you might be a little scared to do this, but I swear you have allies. None of your coworkers want to be in all of these meetings that are going back to back to back and never have time to eat or pee either. They don't. You're not alone in not wanting to have that situation. And so, if you can get other people on board and just start reiterating this, you can make it the new norm, right? If you are finding that you just can't get people to stick to this at all, you might try starting meetings later instead of ending meetings earlier. I know that's worked for some companies as well, and you can set that up in your defaults as well. So I just want to give you this little trick because we tend to think like, oh, we have to massively overhaul our calendar if we want to get any relief. And yeah, that would be really helpful, but we can't always do that. And so sometimes we can just use these little tweaks to make things just a little bit easier on ourselves. And you will see your stress levels go down if you just have a little bit of breaks in between those meetings. All right. If you like this kind of content and you want more of it, make sure to subscribe so that I'm in your feed every week.
Hi, it's the video editor here. I just wanted to say, like she said, to subscribe because only about 20% of the people that watch our videos are actually subscribed. So it'd be a big help if you subscribe.